5:31 PI.
It's 10 o'clock. Good morning. You with the Brian on Pacific Breakfast, and I hope your Tuesday morning is going well. Sue Perrott, a Pacific Heartbeat nutritionist, and Mafi Funaki Taifote, a manager of Pacific Health, the Heartbeat team from the Heart Foundation, joining us now on Pacific Breakfast for our Pacifica Health Talanoa for the week. And ladies, welcome to the show. What have we got in store for this morning, Sue and Muffy?
Thanks, Brian. Talofa malolele and warm Pacific greetings to everybody. And it's great to be here at this Pacifica Health Talanoa. And great to have Balangi Sue with myself talking to everybody in their bubbles. Now in level 3, which doesn't look any much different to level 4. But this week we are talking about canned foods and how do we actually use those from our cupboards.
Yes, talofa everybody, and all the other Pacific greetings from Palangi Sue. And yes, last week it was about looking at our great friend, the fridge and the freezer during this lockdown. And now we've got another nice, great friend in our kitchen. And that's the cupboard or the pantry. And we thought, yeah, we might be able to share a few tips about what might be handy to have on hand in the cupboard or the pantry, just for some. Yeah. What's that, Brian?
Sorry, I was just going to remind our listeners and our online viewers as well, of course, 0800 000 531 if you want to call through and put a question. Oh, I like that sign right there. Thank you, Sue. 0800 000 531 if you'd like to put a question to Palangi Sue or Muffy, or on our Facebook page, the live streaming, please put a question in our comments and the ladies will be able to answer that. Back to you. Thank you, ladies.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. So we thought we'd talk about some canned foods this week, that when we're at the supermarket, maybe we could just get one extra can or 2 extra cans if they're on special. That's what we thought about, didn't we, Muffy?
Yeah, definitely. And we've covered in earlier programs about 4 food groups, and we can get those as well through as cans. So if we learn how to read the labels, foods that we get from labels that I've got here, a can of tomatoes is just as good as fresh tomatoes, and they can be cheaper when tomatoes are really, really expensive. So yeah, it can come in cans and put it into stews or soups.
And I was thinking the other one that's really popular in a can, Muffy, and I haven't got any in my cupboard. I need to get one when I go to the supermarket, but you might have it at your house. Is a canned corn kernels or cream corn. Do you have that, Brian? Do you?
That is one of the mainstays at the Sangala house. Yes, cream corn. It goes so well with everything. Oh, my life. Sorry, ladies, I'm starting to salivate a bit.
Have you got a can in your cupboard, Muffy? Oh, awesome.
So I've got Pam's cream style corn. Yeah, so you can. So vegetables can come in cans as well. As we talked about frozen vegetables, but they can come in cans.
And I was just looking at your cans, Muffy, and they look like they're Pam's cans, are they?
Yes, this is the Pam's one, which is the budget brand of Pack and Save. But there's also budget corn, canned corn. So yeah, in the supermarkets they would be quite cheap, but these are cheaper brands.
And they're just
reading
as good, aren't they?
Right. Yes, and they're great. Just sits in the cupboard, and use it for cooking chicken and cream corn soup.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. We're coming over to your house, Brian.
Oh, okay then. Yes, alert level 2. Alert level 2.
Have you done your housework?
Yes, but our other non-essential workers, they're doing the majority of the horsework at the moment. So, thank you.
And the other, we had the canned veggies, but also canned fruits. Really good, isn't it, Muffin?
Yes, we've got canned fruit, and the main thing for canned fruit, I don't have one in front of me, but it's choosing fruit that are in juice rather than syrup. Syrup would be sugar sweetened fluid inside the can. Yeah.
And I know Palangi Sue, for her breakfast every morning, I just have porridge. I don't know. Do you have porridge for breakfast, Brian?
Of course, it's one of my main winter meals. I don't know for yourselves, but my favourite way of eating porridge is with cream, a bit of sugar, and salt. Apparently, that's how the Scottish eat it. It's very nice.
Well, the porridge sounds good, but and the other thing we can do with canned fruit is add it to our porridge. Instead of having the sugar and the cream, we can put a little bit of yogurt, which is a little bit lower in that bad fat or that saturated fat. Bit of yogurt, a bit of canned fruit or a banana. Um, awesome. Yeah, and some milk. Really, really awesome for breakfast. Yeah. So have you got some more cans there, Muffy? Have you?
Yeah, so we've talked about, in terms of the 4 food groups, we've talked about fruit and vegetables that can come in cans, but other things that can also come in cans is in our meat, fish and seafood. So I've got kapaika or tinned fish. Not sure what it's called in Samoan, Brian.
Oh,
Kapaika.
oh yeah. What is it? Apaia. That's yeah. Apaia.
Kapaika.
Yeah.
Right. So the main thing, so I've got this one here in tomato sauce, but the ones that we'd recommend is one in spring water. They're a bit more expensive, but if you add lots of vegetables to bulk it up, you don't have to sit down in one meal and have the whole can.
And what do you make with your canned mackerel, Muffy and Brian? What dishes, what Pacific dishes can you share with Palangi Sue that you make with your tin fish?
For this one in tomato sauce, I could just saute or a tablespoon of oil in a saucepan, brown it up. You can add garlic and ginger, like a teaspoon of each. I don't really like ginger, so I have half of the ginger and more of the garlic, and then add this in. And I can add mixed veggies into it.
Yeah, those frozen mixed veggies. Yeah.
Yeah, into it, and have it with rice or green bananas or cassava or
That's me
taro.
too. I keep it nice and simple. It's usually just mackerel and rice. It's a very nice and filling dish.
And you can amp it up with your frozen veggies now, Brian, after these tips, our freezer tips, and or some canned veggies. Yeah.
Yes, that goes without saying. Goes without saying, Sue. Thank you.
Caught on camera. Oh God! And I know another one that I covered is these canned dried beans. I've got a can of chili beans here, and I've also got a can of, as long as I don't drop it on the floor, a can of baked beans. And Muffy mentioned the meat, fish, seafood food group, one of the 4 food groups. But in that food group, we've also got these dried beans and lentils, like the chili beans and the baked beans. And these are just so cheap, and they go so well with mince, meat, chicken. They can be put into stews. They can be put into casseroles, soups, and quite often you don't have to use as much meat then or as much mince. Because the expensive part of the meal. What's the expensive part of your meal, Willie, Brian?
Oh,
What?
well, we usually use it. We have nachos, pretty much,
Yes.
you know, and a bit of
You,
what is it, Parmesan cheese and or sour cream, you know. But yeah, the cheapest part would always be the tins, of course.
yeah. So you use chili beans in your nachos?
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah. And do you mix that with mince, or do you just have straight out chili beans?
Oh, it's usually either mince or chicken, the two
Yeah.
main go-tos. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a great tip because the meat or the chicken's the expensive thing in the meal, and by this is you can get these on special, for dollar fifty, $1.20 often, and the budget brands are just as good. And then you can cut down on the expensive chicken or mince or meat. Yeah. What about you, Muffy? Do you use them in your house with your kids?
With this lockdown, I have extended our meal by adding um, those beans cans.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been sitting in the cupboard for a long time. So during lockdown, I thought I'll put it in. So less chicken or less mince and add a can or two. So rather than the dish costing us $15 for a household of 8, it can be $8.
Wow.
Yeah. So hidden in there, they'll have it. But if I do it without the meat and only just the beans, they'll be looking out for where the meat is. But they can see the meat is there, but then the beans also show up, but it's only part of the bigger dish. So yeah, it's a good trick with children at home. And I've
And
got teenagers.
I know our colleague Leo. His wife made some burger patties last week, and he made them, or his wife made them. Somebody made them just out of the chili bean, mashing them up, and then adding bits and pieces to it. So it actually just looked like a minced beef burger, and they made homemade burgers. And the kids, Leo shared with us that the kids were sort of looking at them and thinking, oh, these look really good, but they look a little bit different. But they didn't really know it wasn't meat, and they really, really enjoyed it. And they just added in their lettuce and tomato and their grated carrot and a bit of tomato sauce on the burger. Had homemade burgers, and it was much cheaper and really, really good. Went down well.
My daughter's been.
There's one for you to. Yeah,
Oh, I was just
there's
gonna.
one for you to try, Brian.
Yes, definitely. I was going to say my daughter, my eldest daughter, she's been a vegetarian for like the last 2 years, and she
Yes.
really loves it. I had she gave us what is it? We had burgers, and I thought, oh man, this meat is beautiful. Only for her to say, oh, it's actually veggie patties, and I went, what?
Yeah.
Couldn't believe how good it tasted. Yes.
And they can be quite expensive buying them, but you can make your own, like Leo did, just by mashing up the chili bean and adding a few bits and pieces to it. Yeah. No, that was a great tip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And I was thinking, even baked beans, they are awesome. You can add them to stews. Yeah, they are absolutely fine. And the other ones we've got are chickpeas, are great in curries. You can cut down on the lamb or the mutton and add a tin of chickpeas with your frozen veg. Really nice. And like you said, Brian, your nachos, your burritos, really, really brilliant. Yeah, and it just makes the meat go further, or not at all. Don't need to eat at all. Yeah. So, got any more cans there, Muffy?
Yes, I've got coconut cream as well. So this is kind of like the addition into flavoring food, not really a food group. So I've got coconut cream. This is our Pacific's favorite of Cara.
Ara. Ooh, look, you're making Brian
I
hungry.
can see Brian smiling there. But definitely in terms of cost, you can make this go further by diluting it with water. So if you're mixing it to make a lu or palusami, for myself as a Tongan, to dilute it down for the lu, I'll add 1 can of this, and then in the empty can, put in water. Fill up the can. So I've got 50-50 of coconut cream or with water, or do it 1 of this and then I add 2 cans of water. Mix it up in a jug, and then I'll add it when I'm making the lu, which is of course the taro leaves and then onions, tomatoes, and meat in there. And then you put it in foil and in the oven or the umu. So you can actually buy the diluted one from the shop, which is cream plus water to make the coconut milk. So it is more expensive, because if you do this at home, you can actually have a lot more volume rather than actually getting the milk. But if you're tempted not to actually dilute or add water into your coconut cream, then safer for your heart is to actually get the coconut milk straight from the shop. So yeah, but if you have fresh coconut, of course that tastes much better, and you've got a bit of physical activity grating that coconut. So yeah, and there is a bit of a taste or smell to cans of coconut cream. So yeah, if you have access to fresh coconut, then of course that's much yummier, nicer to add flavour.
Well, that's some really good tips that I can share with Sonny Bill Maffei, because he's the cook in our household. But I've just got to share with you that it's not the real Sonny Bill, it's the unreal Sonny Bill. It's my partner, Sonny Bill Davidson. Yeah. So it's not the real one that we see on the telly. It's the unreal one that we have at home. Yeah. But I'll definitely be sharing those tips about the coconut cream and coconut milk with him, because he's our cook and he loves cooking with that sort of thing. Yeah. And I was thinking, Muffy, that a couple of, we've been sharing our Heart Foundation recipes, and I've got one of the recipe books here. This one's called Full of Beans, because we've been talking about beans today, and you can get these recipe books for free from our Heart Foundation website, and I've just written it on a piece of paper here. I don't know if you can see it. www.heartfoundation.
Or maybe just move it back a little bit, Sue, if you could. Yep, there you go.
Yes.
Yeah, www.heartfoundation.org.nz/resources. And if you just look there, they've got the free cookbooks like the Cheap Eats, the Full of Beans, the Affordable Eats, which have recipes in there. They just have all these recipes of what to do with these beans and that sort of thing. So that's a good tip. But some of the recipes have, instead of coconut cream and coconut milk, they have this thing called evaporated milk. Can you see that, Brian? Can you see that tin there? Yeah, and this is a Pam's one. And this was actually quite cheap. And you can use this if you really want to use it in the place of coconut cream or coconut milk, with a little bit of coconut essence in it, will give that flavour. And it's just really thickened milk. Yeah, and it gives it a nice creamy texture. Yeah, so that's a good alternative. I don't know if you've used that one, Muffy. Have you? Have you used evaporated milk?
No.
No, you go for the real deal.
Yeah, because talking about creaminess, we have lo'ifeke in Tongan, which is the octopus that you boil it up and chop it up, and we add coconut cream. And lo'ifeke, when you put lo'i, means that you put really creamy coconut cream with the octopus. But what we do is actually dilute down or add water to the coconut cream, and then we make it creamy or thick by adding corn flour. But the trick is, don't tell others that it's not the full coconut cream. They'll just look into the texture, that it looks really creamy,
Yeah.
until you tell them later. So we did that on my father-in-law. So he said it was really yummy and nice, thinking that it was the full coconut cream, but it wasn't.
That's a good Tongan trick, Muffy. That's a really good Tongan trick, that
Yeah.
one.
So thickening it, as long as it's thick, so it appears creamy, then there's not much difference in terms of taste. Yeah. So it is about getting our taste buds to get used to having it really high fat, creamy coconut cream down to less, because coconut cream, as we know, it's also part of the type of fat that can block the blood
Yes.
pumps in our bodies.
Yeah.
So if it does affect the heart, then we have heart attack happening. We don't want our families to leave sooner than they have with us. So a trick is enjoy your food, but live longer. Dilute it down and put a bit of corn flour to thicken it.
Well, we're making Brian hungry with these octopus recipes and these nachos.
Please, ladies, let's continue, please, please.
Well, that was what we were going to share today. But have we got longer? Have we, Brian? Or we can chat a little bit more if you'd like us to.
Yeah, sure. We've got about say 3 or 4 minutes because we don't want to upset our Tongan community by not playing the Tongan news on time. But don't worry, I'll be the timekeeper. But yeah, let's continue, ladies.
Yeah.
So
Any questions that have come through Facebook or
there's a comment that's come through from Yanualio Salvao Vauli, and just talking about they can't understand why people are rushing to the fast food places when they're doing well during the lockdown, saving heaps of money and eating healthy, I hope. That's a very good comment there. Good encouragement.
Yeah.
Yes, that's good encouragement, that they can actually cook healthier and better at home than takeaways. And takeaways do cost a lot more, don't they, Sue?
Yeah, and I was thinking about pizza even. We wanted to share a pizza recipe this time, and it's in this recipe book here, and it's called the Full of Bean Pizza, and it uses the can of chili beans, and it's really lovely. And it's way cheaper. It's not way cheaper, but it is cheap, especially for a family, to make your own pizzas at home. And you can actually go on to YouTube. I know everybody really enjoys YouTube clips. You go onto YouTube and type in New Zealand Heart Foundation, not the Aussie one, Zealand Heart Foundation, and then just type in cooking videos, and there's a video there how to make a pizza using these chili beans, and it's delicious. It's got pineapple on it, and it's got Edam cheese, and it's got capsicum and tomato, and the kids really love it as well. So that's our caller, our Facebook person, is exactly right. We can be making our burgers and pizzas things at home. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's a very big thank you as always, Sue Pirrett, a Pacific Heartbeat nutritionist, Mafi Funaki Tahifote, manager of Pacific Health, the Heartbeat team from Heart Foundation. Ladies, always a pleasure to have your company, and we'll look forward to catching up again in the next fortnight. Take care, and thank you so much for your amazing tips today. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us, Brian.
Have a good day.
See everybody next time.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye. It is 26 minutes past 10. Coming up next,